it was very sore. And, you know, he does have to use his arms a lot during work. So that was tough for him. But he really didn't mention any other symptoms but that. So I just felt like the body aches and that feeling that looms over you when you're about to get sick, where you just feel off, you know, like something's different. You're fighting something, but you're not quite sure what. And then the third day, I didn't have the nausea anymore. I still felt, you know, achy, but that was pretty much it. And my arm didn't hurt as much. My arm still hurts a little bit, but it's barely even there, you know, the pain is barely even noticeable. So we got through it. I didn't think that I was going to get any symptoms besides my arm hurting for the first dose, but that is how I felt personally. And I do have an autoimmune disorder, so I don't know if that's why, but you know, it's very case by case, so it's different for everyone. And it's, you know, nothing that like scares me to get the second dose, but I'm pretty sure with the second dose I will feel the same way. So I'm okay with that. So yeah, pretty much my whole family has their vaccines, and I'm very, very, very blessed. The next thing that I wanted to talk about are some shows and movies that I have been watching, all of which you can find on Netflix, of course. Where else? So the first show is Selena. So we are on the second season of Selena. And I was such a fan of Selena as a child. I was pretty young though when she passed away, but I still remember watching the live footage of when Yolanda locked herself in a car after shooting Selena. And it was so devastating finding out that she unfortunately had passed. She definitely made me proud you know, the cast was good. I do like everyone in the second season. But you know, it always hits different the first time. But if you're not familiar with the circle, it's kind of like a social experiment where we have these contestants that live separately. They have their own like really cool apartment. That's kind of like the best part, seeing the he was eating. I'm pretty sure she could have afforded training, but she decided to bypass training altogether, and they make the excuse that their dog, due to his breed, he is a bull terrier, is known for these said aggressions. That's just a bad way so I would take him out on, like, I forget the name of it, but a big leash where he could just roam and do his business. And I would notice, and this was like an occurring event, I would notice that he would start barking in like a weird way, almost yelping. And I was like, this is odd, this is not like Cosmo. And, you know, I would come out, you know, as quick as I could, and I didn't see anything. You know, I would look around, because we do have like coyotes and foxes, and, you know, I'm always thinking the worst, you know. So I didn't know if it was another animal messing with them or what. So I saw nothing, and this was just continuously going on. And then one day I asked Jose to take him out and to be right by the door if he started making any weird noises. And so he did just that, and when he heard him yelping, he opened the door and he saw that the people that were staying with our neighbors were poking Cosmo with a stick and videotaping him at the same time. I can't even imagine how many times they were doing this and why. And we quickly called authorities, and since then it's just been pretty tense. But I mean, I don't know what they would expect us to do, you know, with this situation. And when we caught them, they ran off and they were shook, but Cosmo never trusted people the same again. And so when we were home, he would get snappy. And one day, this was in the kitchen, but there was like no food on the table, and he was just by the table, you know, not actually like looking at the table or like looking for food or anything. He was just by the table, and Luna walked past him and he bit her on the arm. And it wasn't anything crazy. But then like 2 weeks later, I was walking by again. It was in the kitchen. I was walking by him and he bit me on the hand. And so that's when we began training, and that's when we decided that we were going to rehome him. As much as the training did help him, we just did not have trust in our safe space, and we didn't have trust in our neighbors, and so we ultimately made the decision to rehome him. He still lives with family, so it's the perfect fit, and he is safe, and that's all that matters. And I don't understand why anybody to role plays. I mean, how are you gonna credit like a cranial nerve exam or a makeup role play? You know, I think that as creators, whether it's intentional or unintentional, we do take a lot of inspo from others. Not to say we do that all the time, but I think that this particular trigger is pretty fresh, and coincidentally they came out with the same one soon after, so I think it's safe to assume that they have watched my video. What really compelled me to even talk about this is not necessarily the creators, but their viewers, because if a bigger creator created a video inspired by yours and you are the smaller creator, of course their views are going to be much more inflated, much more larger, as their numbers are much more larger. That's just obvi. And so the algorithm is going to put them higher up if you were to like search said trigger. And so now you're gonna get comments like, why are you copying so and so? Why are you trying to be like so and so? And I got 2 comments like that because this creator created this video and, you know, didn't give me credit, whether it was a coincidence or not, you know. But I don't want to be that person to be like, oh, well, actually, like, that's not my style. But am I perturbed? Not by the creator, by these people claiming that I'm copying this said creator. Yeah, a little bit. And I deleted the comments because ain't nobody got time for negativity, and I don't want to throw any other creator under the bus. I'm here to uplift people, not tear them down. And I just want to say, if I have to be like the voice for other creators who feel this way, then so be it. But if you are somebody who has felt like you didn't get the credit that you deserved, even though you didn't